Hello, I'm Carl Smart, Director of the Austin Code Department. In a continued effort to create and promote transparency, I am so pleased to introduce...
Thank you, Director Smart, for the fine introduction. My name is Dale Flatt. I'm a retired Austin firefighter with 28 and a half years of service. Nowadays, I go underneath the pseudonym of Joe Fairview, a citizen watchdog who kind of keeps an eye on Carl Smart and the Code Department. So today, let's talk about transparency. Let's talk about transparency as it relates to Director Carl Smart. Every state has an Open Records Act. In Texas, it's known as the Public Information Act. It is managed by the Attorney General of the state of Texas. If you do a Google search for Public Information Act, Texas, you'll end up with this 329-page PDF. Don't let it scare you. There's some basic information in here that'll help you do an open records request. But the city of Austin has made it easy. They actually have a form. Let me show you the form now. This, you can go to austintexas.gov/PIR for public information request, and it'll take you to this website. Things change over time, but it's going to be basically the same thing. This is provided by underneath the Texas Government Code, Chapter 552, which we just looked at part of that from that booklet. It's a very simple form to fill out. You come up here, I'll scroll down. It asks you for your name, your first name, last name, and an email. That's the only thing you're required to give. If you add some of these other things in, of course, they'll be able to contact you and get a hold of you easier. Under topic, there's a pull-down menu. You can do all kinds of things in here. And you can actually go to Code Compliance Department Records, Code Compliance Records. So I want to do Code Compliance Records. And then you can state what you want here. Now, they don't have to generate documents. You're looking for things that already exist. It's not a question and answer form. It takes a couple of them, but then all you have to do is hit submit, and it goes to downtown. Now, after that happens, within a couple of days, they have 10 working days to answer your question. So let's take a look at one of the public information requests that I made concerning Carl Smart and his business. So your PIR, your public information request, will get a number assigned to it. Mine was 813855, and Miss Leah Warner is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She works for the Austin Code Department. So, in a nutshell, this was my request. Over the last year, I have demonstrated dozens of times that City of Austin employees continue to do work without the proper permits, and City of Austin contractors do work without the required permits. I would like to inspect all email or written communications between any code division managers and Carl Smart that discusses this problem and how to address it. I would also like all communications between Director Carl Smart and his supervisors up to and including the city council members, the city manager, and any department heads that addresses work without a permit at City of Austin locations. Okay, that was my request. Ms. Warner responded back, "We're searching for these records, mostly email. Many key staff are out of the office on vacation. We anticipate providing you this information on August 4th, 2015. This is a typical reply. Sometimes they may have some questions for you. And again, this was from July 22nd. Now, on August the 12th, this is the final answer I got back. Again, she summarized my request. I'd like to inspect all the emails, written communications between any code division managers and Carl Smart that discusses this problem and how to address it. I would also like communications between Director Carl Smart and his supervisors up to and including city council members, the city manager, and any department heads that addresses work without a permit at City of Austin locations." Here's the official response. "We have no responsive information for this part of your public information request." Now, the other thing I asked for was a current copy of the Code Department document that outlines the procedure to investigate a complaint on City of Austin property. So here's the problem. I've been turning in City of Austin properties for code violations, and the policy is very clear that if there's a code violation found, that they document the case, they close the case to keep the frontline employees working on homes and apartment complexes and things like that. An email is sent to the department head, division manager, and then the upper management of code manages those cases directly with those department heads or division managers. So I wanted to see if they were doing this. At this point, I had turned in over 200 code violations based on work request from the building services department at multiple city buildings. Things for electrical work and plumbing work that would require permits. And here we find out that over the last year, Carl Smart had not sent an email to anybody. Again, I was very clear. I wanted to review all email or written communications between division managers and Carl Smart and his supervisors, including everybody else, and they tell me we have nothing. This is kind of puzzling. So now the goal is to let me find out if he actually is being transparent, if he actually didn't bother to send any emails, his division managers never sent him any emails, or if somebody's holding back. So I did an open records request to all of the other department heads to ask them, hey, in the past year, have you gotten any emails from Code Department, from division managers or Carl Smart? If so, I would like to see those. And this is what I found out. This is the reply I got back from Eric Stockton. He's the building services officer. Again, we're using the word officer. Over the City of Austin Building Services. He was quite shocked to figure out that his people were doing work without getting the proper permits. He sent me back his reply about city-owned property code violation referrals, and he sent me a document with 67 pages of information. Now, of course, this was after the August one, so some of these are going to be later than the August 12th cutoff. They're going to be up to and including through September and October. But let me show you a few of the emails that were well within the time frame that Carl Smart decided he wasn't going to share with me. All right. This is June 9th of 2015, well within the time frame of records that I asked Carl Smart for. Again, this is from Mark Ott, the city manager, Ray Alario, who is Carl Smart's supervisor, the assistant city manager over the code department, Mark Washington and Eric Stockton. Okay? From June the 9th, they're having a conversation about the media is picking up on the issues brought up in an email you received from Dale Flatt regarding building services, doing work at city facilities without proper permitting. Code is addressing these by getting a representative from each department to meet with an inspector to check with the properties, to see if the work is done, to research permit records, and notify the affected departments. So again, here we have, this is Ray Alano sending something to Mark Ott. Mark Ott is responding to everybody. It's June the 9th of 2015, well within my open records request. Why wouldn't Carl Smart give this to me? Didn't he just say he wanted everybody to be transparent?
In a continued effort to create and promote transparency.
Here's another one from July 17th. Again, my open records request was submitted on the 5th and it was closed on August the 12th. This is well within the time frame. Mark Washington, and look at whose name appears, but right here, Carl Smart. Ray Alano, his supervisor, the assistant city manager. Permitting compliance memo doc. They're still talking about it here. They're drafting up memos to talk with the city manager. Carl, can you send Candace? Can you or Candace send Trina a hard copy of the PowerPoint you shared with me and Ray? I also want to share with Mark his background. They're having conversations, but yet Carl Smart didn't think it was important enough to share this information with me. He violated the Texas Public Information Act. You just saw him a second ago. He talked about transparency. Boy, he's all excited about it, except when it comes to problems within the city of Austin. So this has been going on for years. Now, Carl Smart came on board. When we go back to our employee list, Carl Smart came on board. He's the Director of Code Compliance on July the 18th of 2011. His base salary, by the way, is $173,929.60. For all practical purposes, we're paying this man $174,000 a year to be the Director of Code Compliance. So, let's look at this. This is another one of my YouTube videos called Austin Code Covers Up an Abuse of Authority. Carl can't seem to keep an email more than 30 days, but I assure you, I keep all my emails. Here's part of a YouTube video that I have up that talks about Carl Smart. I sent him an email October the 19th of 2011, and we're discussing abuses of authority. Let's look what I say here.
Me from 7:41 in the evening, and I'm talking about you guys are serving a search warrant and they're abusing their authority. Mr. Smart responded, Mr. Flat, thanks for the reminder. I have not forgotten about you. I had been on him for several months about this. He assures me that Assistant Division Manager Ron Potts, again, another retired APD officer, has been completing a thorough investigation of your concerns. So I will be reviewing that information and responding to you by early next week. I'll be out of town Thursday and Friday, but back in the office on Monday. Thanks for your patience, Carl Smart. So that was in October. I wait until December, and I go, hey, I think the investigation should be complete. I'd like a copy of the investigation. And the response from the city is, it's likely there is no responsive information. I have copied Ron Potts to ensure we have done a thorough check for documents.
Okay, there it is. I've got multiple examples of this. So how much longer do we support the employment of a man who lies? Who assures you, oh yeah, we're doing an investigation, and all of a sudden he doesn't have an investigation. Who violates the Texas Public Information Act. I can show you time and time again that Carl Smart is not the man we need in our Austin Code Compliance Division. The question is, how much longer, how many more videos do I need to make in order for the Assistant City Manager and the City Manager, or possibly even the City Council, to go, enough is enough? Send the guy packing. Christmas is coming up. I couldn't think of a better present.